Want to know when playing dumb is actually the smartest move you can make? I've discovered 5 key situations where slowing down and asking lots of questions can protect your independence as you get older. I learned this from my grandma. She'd always say, "I need to think about it," whenever someone pushed her to decide something quickly. At first, I thought she was just being difficult, but now I get it. She was protecting herself. Let me share 5 situations where taking your time and asking lots of questions isn't just okay, it's the smart thing to do. And don't worry, I won't tell you to be suspicious of everyone or turn down good opportunities. Instead, I'll show you how to handle tricky situations without feeling pressured or rushed. Before I get into the specific situations, here's what you need to know. Playing dumb isn't about pretending you don't understand anything. It's about giving yourself time to think clearly when something doesn't feel right. I'm Hunter Carrington, and welcome to my channel. I've dedicated myself to sharing wisdom about living well in our golden years. From practical tips to heartwarming conversations, we'll discover together how to make these golden years truly shine. Subscribe to stay connected and inspired. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference for me. Number 1. Unexplained medical procedures. I'm sure you've sat in that doctor's office, maybe with some pain in your knee or a worrying test result, when the doctor starts throwing around terms like arthroscopy or minimally invasive procedure. Your heart starts beating a bit faster, and there's this pressure to nod along and say yes. But here's what those quick-talking medical folks might not tell you right away. Every procedure, even the simple ones, comes with its own set of risks. And sometimes there are other options that could work just as well, options you won't hear about unless you speak up and ask. The next time a doctor suggests a procedure, take a deep breath and say something like, "Doctor, I want to make sure I understand this correctly. Could you explain that again?" Watch how the conversation changes. Most good doctors will slow down and walk you through everything step by step. You can follow up with questions like, "What happens if we don't do this procedure?" Or, "Could you tell me about other ways to treat this?" These aren't silly questions. They're exactly what smart patients ask. And here's something many folks don't realize. It's perfectly normal to say, "I'd like to think about this," and maybe get a second opinion. No good doctor will rush you into a procedure without giving you time to consider it carefully. Want to know the real power move? Write down everything the doctor says. Pull out your phone or a small notebook and say, "Do you mind if I take notes? I want to research this." Number 2. Pressured investment opportunities. Money talks can get tricky, especially when someone's trying to rush you into an amazing investment opportunity. You've heard it before, those urgent phone calls about a special deal that'll double your money, but only if you act now. The voice on the other end speaks quickly, throws around impressive numbers, and makes everything sound simple and risk-free. Here's what's really happening behind those smooth sales pitches. Scammers count on pressure and confusion to push you into quick decisions. They'll tell you other people are already making money, that you're missing out, that this deal won't last until tomorrow. And they're right about one thing. Waiting a day might mean missing their opportunity, but that's exactly what you should do. When someone starts pushing an investment, try this response. "Oh, this sounds interesting, but I'm not great with financial terms. Could you write down the details for me?" Watch what happens. Real investment professionals will happily provide paperwork and give you time to review it. The scammers, they'll get frustrated or push harder for an immediate decision. You can follow up with questions that sound simple but pack a punch. What could I lose if things go wrong? Or who regulates this investment? Take notes during the conversation. It helps you remember details and shows you're paying attention, even if you're planning to say no. And remember, you can always say, "Thanks for telling me about this. I need to run it by my financial advisor first." This isn't just playing dumb, it's playing smart. A legitimate opportunity will still be there after you've done your homework. If someone tells you it won't be, that's your cue to walk away. Number 3. Family loan requests with unclear terms. Family and money. Now that's a combination that can turn a warm Sunday dinner into an awkward silence real quick. When your loved one sits down with that worried look and starts talking about needing cash, your heart might tell you to reach for your wallet right away, but your brain needs to step in first. These conversations often start so casually. "I just need a little help until next month," or "things are tight right now." No mention of exact amounts, when they'll pay it back, or what it's really for. And in that moment, with someone you care about looking stressed and hopeful, saying no feels impossible. So here's where playing it slow works wonders. When they bring up needing money, respond with something gentle but clear. "You know, I want to help, but I need to understand the situation better. Could you write down what you're thinking?" This simple request does something powerful. It turns a vague plea into a real discussion. You can keep the conversation going with questions that show you care while protecting yourself. How much do you need exactly? When do you think you could start paying it back? What's your plan if something unexpected happens? These aren't just questions. They're a way to show respect for both your relationship and your finances. Sometimes they'll push back. "Don't you trust me?" That's when you can say, "Of course I do. That's why I want to make sure we both understand everything clearly." It'll help us avoid any misunderstandings later. This approach keeps things professional without turning cold. Remember, taking time to think isn't mean it's mature. A simple, "I need to sleep on this," gives you space to consider your own financial security and the real impact of saying yes. Because at the end of the day, losing money hurts, but losing family over money, that hurts way more. Number 4. Premature takeover of personal affairs. We need to talk about those well-meaning conversations that start with, "Mom, I noticed your bills were a bit late," or "Dad, maybe I should help manage your checkbook." Your stomach sinks because you know where this is heading. Someone's trying to take over your decision-making just a bit too soon. These suggestions often come wrapped in concern and love. They'll point out small mistakes, a forgotten appointment, a misplaced bill, that time you got confused at the bank. And yes, maybe you've had a few slip-ups. Who hasn't? But there's a big difference between needing occasional help and handing over the keys to your whole life. Now here's a smart way to handle this. When someone suggests taking control of your money or healthcare decisions, smile and say, "Oh, I haven't thought about that yet. What made you bring this up?" This gentle question often reveals whether they're really seeing problems or just feeling anxious themselves. You can keep the conversation friendly while staying firm. "I appreciate your concern. Can we make a list of what's worrying you?" This shows you're listening without committing to any changes. Plus, it gives you solid information about what needs fixing. Maybe you just need a pill organizer, not someone managing your whole medical care. Try this response when they push harder. "You know, I'm still handling things okay. How about we set up a regular check-in instead?" This keeps you in control while showing you're open to support. You might suggest monthly coffee dates to review any concerns, giving everyone peace of mind without rushing big changes. Remember, staying independent isn't about refusing help. It's about choosing when and how you accept it. Taking notes during these conversations shows you're serious about addressing real issues while giving yourself time to think things through. Because once you hand over control of your affairs, it's much harder to take it back. Number 5. Confusing legal or official documents. There's something intimidating about a stack of legal papers landing on your desk. The tiny print seems to go on forever, packed with words that might as well be in another language. And often, someone's standing there with a pen saying, "It's all standard stuff," or "Everyone signs these." In these moments, your heart might race a bit. You'll spot words like "hereby" and "pursuant to" swimming across the page. Maybe you catch phrases about waiving rights or binding agreements. But what does it all really mean? Meanwhile, that pen keeps hovering in your peripheral vision. Here's your power move. Put the pen down and say, "These documents look pretty serious. I'll need my attorney to look them over." Watch how the mood changes. Some people will try to brush it off. "Oh, it's just routine paperwork," or "We need this signed today." That pressure, it's your signal to slow things down even more. Try this approach. Grab a highlighter and start marking things you don't understand. When they see you actively reviewing the document, they'll realize you won't be rushed. You can say, "I see something here about liability. Could you explain what that means for me?" Each question buys you more time and information. Keep a small notebook handy for these situations. Write down their explanations, then ask, "Did I get that right?" This shows you're taking things seriously while giving yourself space to think. You can even say, "I need to sleep on this and check my calendar for when I can meet with my lawyer." Your signature is valuable. It's like a key to your rights and resources. Once you sign, that document locks into place. So take your time, ask questions, and remember, no legitimate business will collapse if you need a few days to review paperwork properly. You've probably noticed a pattern in all these situations. It's about buying yourself time when something doesn't feel quite right. Playing dumb isn't really about playing at all. It's giving yourself permission to pause and think things through. When you say, "I need to understand this better," or "Could you explain that again?" you're not showing weakness, you're showing wisdom. Those extra minutes or days you gain by asking questions, they're your shield against rushed decisions you might regret later. Keep these tools in your back pocket. A small notebook for taking notes, a pen for highlighting things you don't understand, and a few ready-to-use phrases like, "I'll need to review this," or "Let me check with my advisor." Simple tools, but they work wonders when pressure's mounting. Remember, your time is yours to take. Whether it's a doctor explaining a procedure or a family member asking for money, you've got every right to slow things down and ask questions until you're comfortable moving forward. Now, I'm curious, which of these situations hits closest to home for you? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. If this advice helped you out, hit that like button and subscribe for more practical tips on navigating life's tricky moments. And hey, if you know someone who could use these strategies, share this video with them. Sometimes the best way to protect ourselves is to look out for each other. Stay sharp, stay curious, and never feel bad about taking your time to make important decisions. I'll catch you in the next video.